today's presentation in advance, so we're ready to jump right in and hear your presentation, and if we have time for questions at the end, we'll do that.
That's great, thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and discuss our request today. My name is Katie Kaur. I'm the president and CEO of the Nashville Public Education Foundation. I know you have the request in front of you, and I'm happy to take questions about that at any time. I'm going to start, though, with a little context about why we do this work and why we think it's so critical for equity in Nashville. So there's a second grader in a school that's not far from here. It's a majority minority school, and this second grader does very well in school, loves his teacher loves him, he does great work, but the deck is already significantly stacked against him. Next year, 50% of his teachers will not return to this school. If trends continue, he will have 3 principals in 5 years at this school. By the time he gets to middle school, he's 4 times more likely than his peers in majority white classrooms to ever receive grade level appropriate materials. In high school, he has only 14% of his peers who are proficient or advanced on English assessments. And once he graduates from high school, he only has 7% chance of going to and graduating from college. This is not an unusual story in our district, and it's unacceptable. And the Nashville Public Education Foundation exists to marshal private resources to backfill the needs of our schools. So government entities are really designed to provide the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of citizens, and public education is no different. But that means that at the end of the day, there will be a shortfall for what kids need and deserve in our schools. So by providing funding to the Nashville Public Education Foundation, we are able to go out and secure private resources to backfill that need for our district. So last year, your contribution of $275,000 allowed us to raise an additional $1.9 million to invest in public education. And we really believe that that public-private partnership, it needs to exist in order to secure funding for our kids. We'll never privately, fund our way out of our challenges, but without that combination of city and private funding, there simply would not be enough for all of our children in the district. The appropriation request that you have in front of you really aligns to 3 of our major initiatives. You've funded these in the past. The first is the Mayor's Teacher Cabinet. The second is work around enhancing the district's capacity to attract, recruit, retain great teachers and leaders for our kids. And then the third is around improving college access and success for all of our students, particularly for our kids from first-generation families and for low-income students. I'm happy to walk through each of those requests at this time. I can take questions about all of that, or however you all like to proceed. I don't want to just talk at you, so feel free to let me know how you would like. You want me to go through the 3 requests? Would that be the best?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Okay. So the first is building on the Mayor's Teacher Cabinet. So previously you all have funded us to provide a teacher cabinet for the district. We bring together a cohort of diverse, highly effective teacher leaders, and they provide feedback to the district around policy decisions. These meetings usually mean that a senior official at MMPS, including our director of schools or senior staff, chief of staff, come and present policy issues to the teachers to garner feedback. And then they are provided, the district is provided a memo recommending different policy adjustments. And those memos have actually resulted in discrete changes that we can measure and see, including specifically things around principal selection, teacher evaluation, teacher professional learning, that the district has made choices to amend their decisions and their policies based on the feedback of these teachers. The direct appropriation request would allow us to not only have a 4th year of our cohort of diverse teachers from across the district, but it would also allow us to go deep with them around building their capacity to expand their ability to affect change back at their schools. The second big bucket of work that we are hoping you all will fund is around hiring and retaining great teachers and leaders. I mean, we all know that the teacher in the classroom can significantly transform a child's life if given the opportunity, but we don't simply have enough teachers right now to do that. We both don't have enough teachers, we don't have enough teachers of color, and they're not being retained at the numbers that we need them to be. So our work in this area really touches on all aspects of a teacher's life. Beginning at the front end, we really want to make Nashville a destination city for teachers. We have a website called Teach BNA that provides information on both living and working in Nashville, a lot of information about the school district, how to apply for jobs, etc. A direct appropriation from the city would allow us to build on that website, as well as provide direct recruitment support for our priority schools, the district's 21 lowest performing schools. Once teachers are in our schools, we really want to make sure that we are championing and recognizing them so that they feel loved and really, it's the hardest job in the world. I don't know if any of you have ever been in the classroom. It's incredibly hard. I tried it for about 2 months. I failed miserably, and I really think it's the most important thing we can do is make sure our teachers know that they're honored. And so we do that in a couple of ways. We have a Blue Ribbon Teacher Ceremony where we recognize the top 1% of teachers in metro schools with a significant cash award and a reception at the Vanderbilt Chancellor's residence. We also have the Show Your Love campaign, which the mayor has been involved in the past, that allows the city to kind of come together and collectively honor teachers. Through PSAs, through media, through social media, as well as providing discounts to businesses across the city for all of our teachers. And then the last thing that we would do in this area is provide professional learning opportunities for our teachers who are in our priority schools. These are our most challenging schools and really need a huge amount of support and resources, and we would like to be able to provide that for them. So the final area in kind of what we call the talent bucket of teachers and leaders is around great principals. We really believe that the principal makes the culture for the building. He or she makes the teachers want to stay. He or she enhances the learning environment for both adults and kids. And so we are doing some very deep work with the district right now on selecting highly effective principals, and we want to be able to build on that and make sure we have 169 great principals in every building in our district. So the last area is around accessing and succeeding in college for our Metro students. So thanks in part to Metro funding, we've been able to provide deep research and resources around college access and success for our kids with our Bridge to Completion work. This work, which came out last year, has an aggressive but doable goal of attaining 40% college completion rate by 2025. But we can't do that if we don't consistently maintain a focus on college access and success, and we know that the mayor is very significantly focused on this already. So in collaboration with the mayor's office, we would like to continue to build on the work of that Bridge to Completion report, be able to continue to provide the research and the data to show the importance of getting kids to and through college, and then also be able to convene and coordinate resources so that kids have the tools that they need to go on to college. So those three areas, the teacher cabinet, the focus on great teachers and leaders, and the work around college access and success, lead to specific outcomes that we think can create a more equitable city for all of Nashvillians. In terms of the teacher cabinet, we are looking at developing teacher leaders who have the mindsets and the skills to affect change across the district. We really hear all the time that our teacher leaders want more opportunities to inform policy, and we think that this is one of the best ways to do that. So being able to expand that number of teacher leaders who can do that work is really significant. The second outcome in our teacher and leader work, I mean, there's nothing more important than a great teacher in every classroom. So to ensure that every school has a team of highly effective educators is really the outcome we're looking at for that metric, particularly in our priority schools. So we'll be working deeply in our priority schools to help make sure that every child has a great teacher. And then finally, in our outcomes in the college access and success work, we really want to be able to continue to measure a consistent upward trajectory on college access and a higher persistence number once students get into college. We really are focusing that metric on students who are first in their family to go to college and students from low-income families. So, we're asking for direct appropriation as the same we did last year for $275,000. We truly believe that that will help us, really have a deeper impact for all of our kids by allowing us to secure the private resources necessary to backfill the gap in funding. So we believe that a great public-private partnership is just critical to ensuring that every child has a great teacher, that every child has a learning opportunity that is meaningful and has the opportunity to go on and do great things in their lives. So that's really the nuts and bolts of it. The organization does a lot of other work. I'm happy to go into that work as well, but the direct appropriation would be in support of those three initiatives. So any questions or conversation?
How do you help recruit principals, and how do you expand the number of teacher leaders?
Yeah, so in terms of the recruitment piece, we are working in two different ways right now. One is revising the selection criteria that is used to recruit principals. So we're looking at the way we, once the principal is recruited, the way they come in, we want to be able to make sure we're selecting for the right criteria. So not only should the principal be a highly effective instructional leader, but he or she should also be able to support the professional growth of his teachers or her teachers, as well as be able to provide that culture. And so the selection criteria that we're helping the district work with is looking at some of those competencies in a way that the district has not before. We also are working with the Priority School Office to help recruit principals through an RFP and expand the way that they can kind of get, the way that they can get exposed to more principals from across the country. So we actually want to significantly broaden the reach of our recruitment efforts. We usually rely on just local channels, and we want to make sure that we can reach much, much further, and so we're going to try to help the Priority Schools Office do that. Your second question about teacher leaders, we specifically, I think it was about asking about how we expand their reach kind of thing.
Or just how do you grow that number of teacher leaders?
Yeah, so we have a cohort of teacher leaders every year of about 25, and we've done roughly 75 teacher leaders to date through the teacher cabinet, and so this next cohort would be an additional 25, so we would have a total of 100 teacher leaders across the district that come from every school, all different tiers, and so that's just, we would just continue to grow that through the teacher cabinet.
Is that in the cabinet, is it a program that is ongoing?
Yes. It's an annual cycle that the teacher leaders come in every month, and we do work with them, and they meet with Metro officials to learn about policies and how they can affect them. Yeah.
So is there an application process?
There is, yes. It's
lots of competition?
There is, actually. It's really nice to see the people who want to be involved in the teacher panel and teacher cabinet, and we get dozens and dozens of applications. It's a quite rigorous process that we review. We look at whether or not they're effective in their classrooms in terms of instruction, but then also kind of how they have already informed policy decisions in their own schools and what they're doing in leadership.
And did you want to squeeze something in?
What's your annual operating budget?
Roughly 1.7 million, yeah.
Okay, I think we're out of time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah,
I really
thank you.
appreciate it. You all have a good day. I hope you're not doing this until dinner time.
We are.
Yes.
That is what we're doing.
Are you